Welcome to today's webinar, Montana Farm to School Success Stories, hosted by Montana Team Nutrition Program. This webinar will be recorded and participants are in listen-only mode. The archived version will be available online. We have opportunity at the end for you to ask questions or ask questions throughout in the chat box that you'll see in your screen. I'll be your host today. I'm the Montana Farm to School Coordinator for Montana Team Nutrition Program and serve as the Montana State Lead for the National Farm to School Network. Montana Team Nutrition is the training arm of the Office of Public Instruction's School Nutrition Programs and housed at Montana State University. In our webinar, I will discuss farm to school basics and events. Jenny Kirby, Food Services Manager at Bigfork School District, will then share her farm to school experiences. Eric Jackson from Gallatin Valley Farm to School and Aaron Turner from Monforton School will discuss how farm to school cafeteria and class actions are evolving and making impacts at Monforton School near Bozeman. So let's get started. Enriches the connection communities have with fresh, healthy food and local food producers by changing food purchasing and education practices at schools and preschools. Students gain access to healthy local foods as well as education opportunities such as gardens, cooking lessons, and farm field trips. Farm School empowers children and their families to make informed food choices while strengthening the local economy and contributing to vibrant communities. Farm implementation differs by location, but always includes one or more of the following core elements as shown on this slide. First off, local foods are purchased, promoted, and served in the cafeteria or as a snack or taste test. Education. Students participate in education activities related to agriculture, food, health, or nutrition. And lastly, school gardens. Students engage in hands-on learning through gardening. Of local and farm to school programs is decided by the school or community and could be defined in ways such as within a certain number of miles, within state lines, or region. You choose what makes sense for your area. Farm taken root in Montana. According to the USDA Farm to School Census, way back in 2011-2012 school year, 38% of Montana schools reported already participating in farm to school programming. Although we do not have recent figures yet, this number has certainly grown. Piece of farm to school, Montana schools are purchasing all kinds of local foods that span the food groups. Some top purchases are beef, wheat, and apples. It's a farm to school programs, and many of them can be distilled into 4 categories: health, economy, environment, and education. Studied farm to school programs have increased children's fruit and vegetable consumption by 1 serving per day. That's equivalent to adding 1 apple per day, which I think is pretty awesome. Increased children's willingness to try new foods, increased meal participation, increased farmer sales by 5%, promote environmentally sustainable practices, and these programs have improved academic achievement, specifically in science achievement. Farm to school programs provide a tangible, hands-on method for teaching a plethora of subjects, as shown in this garden map. Really ready to jump in and figure out how you're going to do this. Here's a brief glimpse at the roadmap for getting a farm to school program growing. I will email our farm to school steps for success fact sheet shown here to get you started. So now we'll go through a few projects, resources, and upcoming events that will help support your farm to school efforts. The School Research Project is a 3-year project that will conduct 5 case studies, each with a school and a beef producer and or processor they work with, conduct a supply chain survey, create educational and outreach materials, and host beef to school training. The Montana School Leadership Team partnerships across the state to build farm-to-school initiatives that keep kids eating, connect kids with agriculture and nutrition through education, support farmers and food producers, foster economic vitality, and strengthen communities. This team of agencies and organizations with statewide focus and influence that are key to the success of farm-to-school in Montana. Our three are listed on the slide, which are farm-to-school distribution, developing a farm-to-school grant program, and enhanced by creating a farm-to-school, the Montana Farm-to-School website. Food, a nationwide team of AmeriCorps leaders who connect kids to real food and help them grow up healthy. Food members in Montana are building a great foundation of farm-to-school and incredible resources. The 2016-17 school year sites are listed on the slide. Time is a statewide event to celebrate National Food Day and National Farm to School Month. On October 24th, or closest weekday to that date, all Montanans, especially pre-K through 12 students, are encouraged to grab an apple and crunch in. Approximately 40,000 youth and adults plan to participate in 2015. Check for a crunch time guide with tips, recipes, and activities. National and Montana Farm to School Month, by serving local foods in school meals, conducting taste tests, hosting a field trip, or doing a special lesson on food or agriculture. Invite parents, policymakers, and community members to be part of the fun. Farm to School resources. Here are just a few available to you in Montana through Montana Team Nutrition. Montana has Montana menu boards shown here. They're available for early child care and education facilities and K through 12 schools. They can be used with dry erase markers for featuring local foods on a continual basis. If you're interested, you can email me. Montana's Delicious Treasures is a 3-lesson and poster set that helps teach nutrition to kids and eating a variety of foods and cases Montana-grown foods. And electronic sets are available at no charge. Super excited to announce that we're launching the Montana Harvest of the Month program for K through 12 schools this summer to start the 2016-17 school year. The Montana Harvest of the Month program showcases a different Montana-grown food each month, such as beef, wheat, lentils, and winter squash. Participating schools will serve the Harvest of the Month item at least once during the month in schools or snacks, at least one educational activity during each month, taste tests of each item, and the Harvest of the Month item. To schools, we will provide these gorgeous posters as shown on the left, a handout for food service staff with school-approved recipes, a handout for teachers with activities, a handout to share with parents. We'll also guides and trainings. If you're interested, please send me an email. An online registration will be coming in the following months. Step you can do right away. Get out your calendar or grab your notes, and you will be in Bozeman on September 22nd and 23rd for the Montana Farm to School Summit. The conference will include field trips, workshops, inspiring stories from Montana farm programs, networking, local foods, and more. You will be able to sign up for and receive the Harvest of the Month materials there as well. The incredible Chef Ann Cooper will be joining us for a keynote. Registration will be open soon, and scholarships will be available. If you're jazzed up and want to learn about farm to school champions throughout the country, I recommend you join me in Madison, Wisconsin in June for the National Farm to Cafeteria Conference. Scholarship applications are due February 29th, so you may check that out. That will help you along the way. Email this presentation out so you will be able to get the links later as well. I have a snapshot of what resources are out there to help you, and this is just a very small snapshot. I will hand it over to Ginny Kirby from Bigfork School District to talk about her farm to school successes and provide some serious inspiration. Take it away, Ginny.
Hi, as Aubrey said, I'm from Bigfork School District. This is my 12th year with Bigfork School Food Services and 3rd year as supervisor. Before I became supervisor, I remember hearing the expense to buy local and how hard it is to set up accounts for different vendors and really every reason in the book not to try something new. Then I promoted to supervisor and I could see every reason why we should be promoting farm to school. At first, it was overwhelming, learning new parts of my job, so the first year I mainly explored my options. I ordered some local. I also used Food Service of America and Cisco for salad bar, which at that time we did only for the high school. Every year I began to order more, and I find out there are other places like Lower Valley Meats in Kalispell for my hamburger, Eastern Montana Growers in Missoula for all kinds of fruits and vegetables. All of my fresh apples, peaches, pears from local orchards, and lettuce, kale, spinach, carrots from local farms. We were also able to use some carrots and potatoes from our school garden. At this time, it's more of a teachable garden, but we are hoping to get it more to come into on our salad bar. Next slide. 3 years ago, the Food Corps program started in Bigfork, and I was very fortunate to have them on my supervisor position. We looked into the different prices, buying farm to school, and I was amazed that there wasn't that much difference in price. If a higher price item, I could make up the difference with another food on my menu for that day or throughout the week. Food did a spreadsheet for me on different items, and seeing it on paper actually motivated me to buy more local, just being able to see the comparisons. If I have any problems setting up account new vendors, the district office was great and getting the process going, and I just made a few phone calls to get to know farmers in the area, and now we have a really great system going for us. Big has been in a pilot program with OPI for Harvest of the Month last year, so doing one item a week to focus on in the beginning was a nice way to start buying local. One menu, I add at least one highlighted fruit or vegetable per week to the other fruits and vegetables being offered. I also have the colorful Harvest of the Month posters in my lunchroom that catch a lot of eyes. Bigfork also qualifies for the Fresh Fruit and Veggie program, which is a program that funds fruits and vegetables with 50% or higher free or reduced rate. I have ordered a lot of local product for that program as well. The students love seeing and learning about the different fruits and vegetables they get to try each week. Next slide. Sport has been a huge factor in my success. Jensen, superintendent of Bigfork School, is also my supervisor, and he's given me the opportunity to run my department and make change where I see fit. My situation is unique because my department's budget only needs to cover food and employee pay, unlike other schools who need to add electricity, water, garbage, and other stuff. All costs have been covered with no problem. It is no doubt scary first because you think local is more expensive, but it isn't really, and the quality is so wonderful. The local orchards will also do some price matching for me. They'll price with Food Service of America and Cisco. So that's been really great because then the kids get all this local fresh product. This year I have had the privilege of working with Maddie Halverson from Food Corps and she's putting together a Harvest of the Month extravaganza. This month, we'll start it next week, Bigfork, where we focus on a different Harvest of the Month food every day, and we'll put posters up, and the teachers will discuss it in class with the kids. And we'll have assembly at the end of the week with a guest speaker talking about some different farms. It has also involved the junior high students with our taste tests of local foods, and they serve the food to the younger students, which they really enjoy being a part of that. As before, we do have a school garden that's more of a teaching garden at this point, but our goals are to be able to utilize the garden for in the whole cafeteria. And last fall, we were able to harvest out 5 pounds of carrots, 10 pounds of potatoes, and then kale, and a little bit of lettuce for our salad bar. Here, our salad bar now serves K-12 instead of just the high school. And we have come a long way these last 3 years. And every year I get excited about Farm to School because there is always something new to learn. Purchasing local has definitely become a habit in Bigfork.
Thank you so much, Jenny. It's been exciting to learn about all your successes and how far you've come. Just as a reminder for our participants, we will take questions at the end, and you can ask them throughout in the chat box. So now move on to our next presenter. We have Erin Turner and Erin Jackson to discuss their partnership at Monforton School.
Just want to give you guys a warning that we are at a school and it's almost time to get out of school. So our bell may ring and there may be a little bit of background noise, so we apologize. Erin Turner, and I'm a registered nutrition dietetic technician. This is my second year as the food service manager and head cook at Monforton School near Bozeman. I'm about nutrition education and supporting local farms. I do believe that children should be educated about where their school comes from, nutrition different foods provide, and about making healthy eating choices to support a healthy lifestyle. And I'm Erin Jackson, and I'm the education coordinator with Gallatin Valley Farm to School. I've lived in farm to school education for about 5 years, starting in Vermont, when I was working with high school students in a garden-based summer program, which involved growing and processing thousands of pounds of fresh fruits and vegetables for use in their school cafeteria. In 2012, I moved to Bozeman to accept a position as a food corps service member, which you heard about, and this was at High Elementary School in Bozeman. And so I was working on starting a nutrition and garden program and increasing access to locals in the Bozeman School cafeterias. Current position with Gallatin Valley Farm to School, I work on a county scale teaching kids about where food comes from. Gallatin Valley Farm to School is a Bozeman-based nonprofit that connects schools and farmers in the Gallatin Valley to create healthy kids, vibrant farms, and strong communities. We have 3 program areas: cafeteria, classroom, and community. And our main programs within those 3 areas are classroom garden education, our seed to snack summer camps, which take place at some local school gardens, cafeteria program assistance, like we're doing with Monforton, and community events, such as some of the ones you heard about from Ari for Farm to School. Gallatin Valley Farm to School is also a food corps service site. Having our food corps member has made it possible for us to implement the comprehensive Farm to School program with Monforton School District that you will hear about today. So the Monforton School got started with Farm to School, started with a wellness committee, went to a Healthy Schools meeting through Team Nutrition, OPI, and the Department of Health and Human Services, and completed a survey to help us identify wellness needs of our district. It was called the Wellness Implementation Report. After finding some weaknesses in our overall school wellness, we set goals to increase nutrition education, to increase the procurement of local foods by participating in the Harvest of the Month program, and buying our own school garden. We also aim to improve nutrition through the sale of only healthy snack choices in our school snack shack sold through our parent-teacher organization. The Wellness Committee is made up here in Monforton of parents, teachers, administrators, food and community partners like Gallatin Valley Farm to School. We applied for grants to help us use local foods offered at our church and provide more nutrition education in the classroom. We also put our grant funds towards Gallatin Valley Farm to School to help coordinate classroom nutrition education, field trips, and to assist me in procuring local food for the cafeteria and developing recipes for these foods. So we heard a little bit about the Montana Harvest of the Month program earlier. That's been the big model that we've been using here at Monforton, and it's a statewide program that showcases Montana-grown foods. And so we believe that by promoting these healthy local foods in the classroom, in the cafeteria, and at home with our take-home sheets, we reinforce the learning to lead to behavior change and healthier lifestyles. And now we'll tell you a little bit about the specifics of how we've used this Harvest of the Month model in Monforton School. So at Monforton, the Harvest of the Month program has helped our school be successful with offering local foods. It has helped us get started in a farm-to-school program by providing a guideline of local food items each month to offer in the cafeteria. Megan, who worked for Gallatin Valley Farm to School in the food court, has been instrumental in helping us find local farms that offer the Harvest of the Month food items, and she has a liaison for us in helping us procure food. Also helps provide farm contact information, food prices, help coordinate delivery of the products, and find some recipes. And then actually plan the menu and put the Harvest of the Month items on each month after deciding on the recipes. I also saw newsletters to the parents, providing information about each Harvest of the Month and to these special recipes on our menu. Next slide. Every month, we offer a different Harvest of the Month local item. Then taste test, usually before we serve the new items for children to try and vote on the items. We also do a taste test to compare 2 Harvest of the Month meals, and we serve the winning items the following month. Together with our classroom education on the same food items, so student nutrition education in the classroom then get to taste the local foods in the cafeteria. Slide. Here's some shots from the Harvest of the Month program in the classroom, all at Monforton as well. So the classroom education is an essential component of a successful farm-to-school program like Monforton's, and we wouldn't really be able to make the strides we're making without it. So even with taste tests in the cafeteria, the students may still be hesitant to try the foods, think beef tail. So address this challenge by teaching monthly Harvest of the Month lessons in classrooms that highlight the same item that's being served in the cafeteria. And these classroom lessons include nutrition and agriculture information about the food, a science, math, English, cooking, or art-based activity, and always a taste test. For example, some of the activities we might do are harvesting kale from the school garden and then making a scientific diagram of the kale leaves and labeling the parts of the leaves, or reading about the history of apples and writing an apple haiku. We also used all 5 senses to explore winter squash varieties and done some scientific diagrams and poems about them. A month, some of the activities we're doing are painting with beet paint and then tasting roasted beets. Today we made 2 different beet salads and tasted them, and the winning one is going to be served later in the cafeteria. So that 4th grade class had a direct connection to what's being served in the cafeteria. Also do things like taste tests of different apple varieties and graphing the class's favorite, or pairing them using a Venn diagram. We also sprout lentils, or do a cooking project such as making a great great carrot salad, making applesauce, as you see in this picture, making zucchini summer salad, kale salad, pickles, or roasted winter squash. And classroom lessons are always hands-on and exploratory. They allow the children to develop an understanding of and relationship to the food. So when they see it on the lunch line, they'll recognize it and they'll know what it tastes like, and therefore be more likely to choose it and eat it, which is our goal. It's really important to promote the item being served at lunch in the classroom so they know to expect it. And even if you can't have a full classroom lesson, even getting on the announcements and promoting the item can help, or doing a quick activity, or having the teacher just say a quick blurb about the food and to expect it at lunch. That can help the item be served and gain momentum. As you can see, the lessons that we lead integrate into the Montana State National Learning Standards. Serving food education can be a way to teach the core concepts while promoting lifelong healthy habits for students. Like I said, you can start small, maybe use carrots instead of cookies in a math example, and you're integrating food education into your school day. Slide. Those of you who have the screen here, you can read some of the quotes from parents and children, which I think are of the biggest demonstration of the success of our program. And these are all quotes from parents on Facebook or on emails, or that students say in class that let us know that our programs are working. So one of my favorite is a second grader in Bozeman who said this twice now, but about the zucchini salad we made. He said, "I told him the plan we had, grab the salad and run." I made a carrot salad in January, and he reminded me that he said that for zucchini is now trying to steal the salad. So that's a success right there. The Harvest of the Month item also allows us to build school culture or local and healthy foods, doing it in the classroom and the cafeteria. It also has a take-home component where the students make the recipes with their families and celebrate the harvest at home. So then we're getting healthy local food into their home meals as well. And even more importantly, we're also, with the Harvest of the Month program, supporting local farmers and ranchers so that the money stays in our community. And we spent, just with Monforton, spent over $400 from September through January on local items, which is pretty exciting. Just a small list of the challenges that we've had at Monforton with coordinating our farm-to-school program. It's pretty difficult at times and consuming. Trying to locate local farms to purchase foods from and to coordinate the delivery of the items as well. Also, accessing local foods may be time-consuming with the limited staff. For example, I purchased 25 pounds of bulk carrots and had washed, sliced, and seasoned to make roasted carrots one day with a small we have. But this challenge can be overcome by planning ahead of time and scheduling in time to process the bulk foods. Also, taking to research new recipes as well. Cost may also be a factor, especially if you need to pay to process the food items. We used a local processor called Root Cellar Foods, which is in Belgrade, and it has worked out really well for us. But we have adjusted our planning to be able to process more foods ourselves. And the challenges with the classroom component of the program is time in teaching schedules can be difficult, and this brings back the importance of integrating the lesson to the standards. It can be hard to encourage some kids to try these new foods, and so one way to get around this is by promoting positive tasting behavior in the classroom and the cafeteria and at home. And we are saying, "Please don't yuck my yum," which teaches students to be respectful and only positive things or be polite when saying how they liked or disliked the food, to allow everyone to make their own opinions about the food. Also give kids the option to try it or not,
And most of the time, even the most hesitant tasters will try it eventually after the class gives it the thumbs up.
A list of some helpful resources that we have used here at Monforton. Gallatin Valley Farm to School can help you get started, as well as a Food Corps member. You will contact them to help you locate local farms and processors near you. I also recommend that you get to know your farmers. Contact a few of your local farmers and get a price list from them. Ask them to work with you on your bulk school pricing if needed. Also, get your students involved and on board to promote your local food items. Take a taste test, food, and being a role model for younger students. Harvest of the Month program was just a way for Monforton to get started and to follow a planned harvest schedule. We will continue to increase our purchases with local farms for our cafeteria. We also work on partnering with a local farm to eventually help plan next year's crop with them and set our prices in advance. I want to continue to provide local field trips and offer nutrition education throughout our 8th grade with the help of Gallatin Valley Farm to School. We also would love to build a school garden and greenhouse for classroom education in the garden and sit on our salad bar. So guys, an idea of what our school kitchen looks like. We served a harvest chili that day made with our December harvest of the month, winter squash. As you can see, helped serve that meal. Also a few pictures of our kale harvest of the month day and students taste testing kale chips that we made here.
And you can see and hear about Monforton has all of the necessary components of a successful farm-to-school program. We are looking forward to continuing our education and cafeteria connections and partnerships to create a healthier community. Thanks for your time, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Much, ladies, for your great work over the past year. We now have plenty of time for questions. There were a few that came through in the chat box. And if you have a question, you can click the raise your hand button to ask a question over the audio. Hopefully that works out. We'll see. But if you have a question, go ahead and enter it into the chat box, and I'll read those off. So the first question that I have is for Ginny. Ginny, do you have any suggestions on how to identify and contact local producers to begin building a relationship?
Bigfork is so small, it's kind of word of mouth, and people actually contacted me.
Any other recommendations you have for communicating or working with those producers?
With my people, because we would get apples once a week for serving on the line in our fruit and veggie program. That's the main contact we had, and I guess once you know them, you get the email and phone calls set up.
Great. Erin and Aaron, do you want to speak to that as well? The question is, do you have any suggestions on how to identify and contact local producers to begin building a relationship?
So Turner, I do a lot on the internet, so I researched what farms were near us and reached out to a lot of them to work with us. I also had farms contact me because they want to work with schools as well. I had a meeting with one of our local farms just a few away, they're very interested in helping to coordinate planning for like next year's crop. So we can, you know, tell them about how many items we want to purchase and then try to agree on a price this year for producing them next year. So also with the help of the Food Corps member, if you have one in your area, they're great. They'll do a lot of the research for you with your farms and contact them for you as well.
Thank you. That is super helpful. So another, it's not such a question, but a comment. So Erin, you had mentioned the school wellness policy assessment. And so if other schools are interested in that tool, you can contact Katie Bark, and I sent this through the chat box, but in case you can't see that, at kbark, B-A-R-K, at mt.gov or 406-945641, or you can contact me on the slide, and I will put you in contact with Katie. Any ends for our panelists or any questions about any of the resources or upcoming events? Like might have panelists or someone asking a question. Joe Rod, you can go ahead and just make sure your phone is unmuted. All right, I have another question. How to find my Food Corps volunteer? I would recommend going to the Food Corps website. We'll go back to that slide, and you see where current numbers are at. Each year, sites apply to have a Food Corps member. So once they're approved as a site, then they can then interview and select a Food Corps member. However, there's very few spots available due to funding. So that can be a challenge. The other opportunity is working with vistas, but they don't receive quite the training and support that the Food Corps do specifically for food. I'm showing now the Food Corps sites. So if you want to do that, or you can Google Food Corps Montana, and a couple opportunities will come up there. We have a question from Sarah B, or that was her question. Asked, how to avoid legal health issues with allergies to certain foods in the classroom. It looks like she might be having some technical difficulties. So Erin, do you want to answer that question?
Erin Jackson from Farm to School. So I always make sure to get an allergy list from the schools I work with before planning the lessons. And we try to keep the foods that we serve. We try not to use common allergens in the food. So for example, one of the Harvest a Month recipes had peanuts in it, but instead we used sunflower seeds to prevent any peanut allergy issues. And so it's just extremely important to get the information from your school secretary, and then they'll have a list of whichever students, assuming their parents have their medical forms, but whichever students have the allergies, and so you can just plan accordingly. And there are, a lot of the recipes we do are gluten-free, but are also, sometimes there are students that won't be able to try it, but for the most part, every student's eating it because we're able to make recipes that don't have common allergens in them.
Great, that is an awesome answer. I'll just give Ginny an opportunity. It looks like she's not going to do that. So we question, what are some strategies to get parents involved in farm to school? So Erin, why don't you go first, and then we'll go to Ginny.
So parents are a huge component of this, and when I was at Highlight with Food Corps, they were able to really help me promote the nutrition education I was doing in the classroom. And one way to get them involved at the beginning of the year is through newsletters. And so this is just information they may read or may not, but if you're able to send home a short blurb in each newsletter every month with the Harvest of the Month item and information about it, then the parents at least will know what is happening. And sending home the recipes after each lesson is a really nice home connection, because then kids are able to talk about the recipe that they tried and loved, and the parents are able to actually make it with them, that even rather than, you know, them not really knowing what the kid is talking about. So I would really recommend, whenever you do educational activities like this, to have some send home component for the parents to be involved. And do you have any?
Yeah, I would also invite parents to your school wellness meetings if you have a school wellness policy. You know, put it in the newspaper that you're having a meeting. That's just a good way to get parents started with trying to be involved at school, especially with farm to school. Invite them to have lunch with their kids, or invite them to volunteer in the kitchen.
A lot of schools have garden committees or green teams, or if you have a wellness committee, those might be some other options, but that's a good to get parents involved in those, because we meet monthly and discuss all things that we're doing, and that helps direct what we are doing in the classroom based on what, you know, they'd like to see.
Thank you, ladies. Ginny, would you like to answer that question too? The question is how to get parents involved in farm to school.
Yeah, this is Ginny, and I agree with a lot of the things that Erin said. Our parents have involved with our garden committee, and we're trying to get some on our wellness committee. We have a school newsletter that goes out, so when we do our taste tests, Maggie, our food corps gal, will put a blurb in about the kids that liked it, loved it. And most of the time, it's mainly they loved it. So it's really fun to see the outcome of that. To bringing the parents come to lunch, kids too, and having the colorful posters around your cafeteria. They can read.
Thanks. I have a question about how do you make sure that farmers are not using the incorrect herbicides on produce if they do not know the rules what schools can buy. All foods that the schools can purchase must be from an approved source. So I'm familiar with which herbicides are not allowed. I think that's set at the federal level through pesticide regulation. So typically that's not something we handle with farm to school, as most of the people that are selling either retail or wholesale do meet the requirements. Are not using any canceled or longer available herbicides or pesticides. There's a procurement process, and there's, depending on if it's fruits and vegetables or depending on if it's meats or grains or processed products, there are additional certifications or licensing that school or that the producers are required to have. So that really depends product by product. And we do have a guide for that. It's called Purchasing Local Foods for Schools, and that's available on the OPI Farm to School website. We'll be updating that manual soon as well. And then half to that question is, how is a garden operated for a school if the school is not in session over the summer, which is a question we get a lot. So have G answer first and then go to Erin and Erin.
So we have what's called ACES program, that is just down the street from our school, and it's a summer program for the kids whose parents work, and they have a time with the garden committee that they'll go water. We've about getting different families to sign up to help it, but so far just having our little summer school program. It's not related to our school. They're their own thing, but they're close with us, so that's been a great resource for us.
Do you have on that?
I don't.
This is Erin Jackson. So a couple of that we need to be helpful are, like Jenny mentioned, having a volunteer schedule. And if you can have a group of people send out a list for each week of the summer, you can have parents and families sign up to maintain gardens for that week and give them, or 1 to 2 families per week, and then give them a brief kind of overview orientation of garden and what needs to be done, and then can experience that's worked really well, and then they get to harvest produce during that week and to get a benefit from it as well. Another thing that Gallatin Valley Farm to School has done, and I started with Food Corps, is having a summer camp like the summer program. These are summer camps that take place at the school garden, with part of the purpose being helping with school garden maintenance when school is not in session. And so the students in the summer camp help maintain the gardens through all the activities, the garden and cooking activities we do during the weeks.
Those are awesome suggestions and strategies. These are great questions, everyone. Keep them coming if you would like. The next question is the after-school program a good place to incorporate gardening or tasting opportunities? I'm not sure if you do after-school program, but would you like to answer that first?
Sure. So Bigfork doesn't do we don't do an after-school program, but ACE does. I think of what they stand for, but the kids do go there, and I'm not sure, we get some of our information like the harvest of the month and take it over there where they could incorporate it, because they meals for the kids, and then that would just continue their learning. So that would be a great thing, something I will probably look into, actually.
Love it. Erin and Aaron.
Could you repeat the question, Aubrey? I'm sorry. Program? Yeah.
Is the after-school program a good place to incorporate gardening or tasting opportunities?
So I would definitely say it's a good place to incorporate it. Our after-school program runs until 5 o'clock every day, and they're always looking for, healthier snack options to provide them. They also try to organize little groups with the kids in making their own snacks, making some fruit smoothies or a yogurt parfait with some local toppings. It's definitely something they can incorporate in after school. Also do a summer school for 4 weeks after school, less out, which would be a perfect time for students after it, and it goes from 9 till noon, and that would be a good opportunity as well. We haven't really implemented it, but it would be a good opportunity for them to stay a little bit after the summer school and be part of a garden committee or garden club as well.
And with Ballatin Valley Farm to School, we do lead Harvest of the Month lessons in 7 of the 8 after-school programs in Bozeman, and those are just monthly Harvest of the Month activities that we do with the group of kids each month. Those have been hugely successful. We're also going to have the after-school school program, those kind of Harvest of the Month, that could also be a garden club, and so they'll be the ones that'll actually help prepare the gardens and plant the gardens for use in our summer programs and for use in the springtime when school's still in session. So I think that's a great place, and in my experience, the school programs are always looking for more extracurricular activities to add in. And so if you have the labor and the human power for it, I would say that's a great place to implement it.
This isn't a question. We have some information about Food Corps to share. So if you are interested in learning more about getting a Food Corps member for your school, contact Al Kirky at AKURKI@ncat.org. And Kat is the state host for Food Corps members in Montana. There will be at least 2 openings for the 2016-17 school year. So again, contact Al Kirky, which is akirky@ncat.org. And if you don't get that in this webinar, you can contact me and I'll put you in contact with Al. Here's another question. Is there a grant out there to help schools set up school gardens or greenhouses? And I'm sure the panelists will be able to give what they have done. I will just show real quick the slide with resources. So Kids Gardening website that's shown is the 4th bullet down. They do maintain a list of national opportunities, and there are a few, including the Lowe's Toolbox for Schools grant, that are pretty easy to apply for and provide a decent amount of funding. The other thing I would look for is support from local businesses who might be able to donate the supplies you need or reduce the price rather than having to go write a grant and then buy them. They're typically really responsive for that, depending on what's in your area. And then to do a much larger project, the USDA Farm to School program has a grant program, and I recently saw the announcement that the program request for proposals has been pushed back till September. So look for that in September, but that is a pretty large grant. I think planning grants start somewhere in $30,000, and then the implementation go up to $100,000. So there are some opportunities out there for you. And also contact your local foundation. You may have a community foundation or a service club that might do some fundraising that would be able to help out. So I'll stop talking. Erin, do you want to talk about what grants you've utilized?
Looking into some current grants that are out there right now. One is through Lowe's, and I think it expires in 3 days, so you have 3 days to apply for that one. And it's a Farm to School grant to help you build a school garden. I think it's $5,000, so it's a pretty good one. Got online and probably look for a lot of grants that are out there, but there's usually a USDA Farm to School grant that happens about this time or in March. So. But other than that, we're looking ourselves right now to apply for one to build a greenhouse as well as a large garden.
To bring on Farm to School, we're able to apply for the wellness grant that Erin spoke about earlier.
That earlier grant that we got for the Farm to School through Scouts of School, that was what that was through. Montana OPI helped us, and Team Nutrition helped us get that grant.
So that was with Montana Department of Health and Human Services, and then Montana Team Nutrition has been able to do some mini grants in the past, and so it depends on the year if we're able to do those or not. There's also a Montana No Kid Hungry grant up to $1,000 that can support farm to school. And so just search for Montana No Kid Hungry grant and contact Lisa Lee, which is LEE@mt.gov. So LLEE@mt.gov if you're interested in that one. They also have some breakfast grants that would support breakfast equipment, which is a great opportunity for farm to school too. Do you want to talk about any funding or grants that you've utilized?
Sure. So we haven't gotten any grants, but we did go local, like hardware store. They donated some wood for the garden, the risers in the garden, and we went to see. I think it was Patrick donated some fencing, and our shop teacher had a class, and they built a bed that we can store our supplies in and help build the boxes in the garden.
And then again,
so more of that. Okay, good.
Oh, we also applied for a grant from the Up to Play 60. We applied for that grant. We're waiting to hear back, but that is a really good grant to apply for. They can help with even playground equipment, gardening equipment, anything that's physical nutrition related they can help with. So that's a really good one that I would recommend as well.
And then through the Annie's Foundation, and I would echo the recommendation to just search online and you'll find probably an overwhelming amount of grants for school gardens.
I've noticed is the most prevalent farm to school funding source that's available in terms of grants is more on that school garden side. So for that question, that'll really help. If you're interested in the Fuel Up to Play 60, you can Google that, or it's fueluptoplay60.com, and requires student engagement, which is great in farm to school, and the grants can be up to $4,000. Great. I'm not seeing any other questions, so I'll just give it a few more seconds here and see if anyone else has questions. You can type those in the chat box. Like there's no more questions, so thank you everyone for joining us. These slides and the recorded webinar will be available on the OPI Farm to School website in the coming weeks. I can't give you a specific deadline because it's the first time I've recorded one, so we'll see how long it takes me to figure it out. Don't hesitate to contact myself or the other presenters, and I'm just getting my contact information up here after this webinar. So have a wonderful day, and thank you again for joining us today. And thank you to our panelists, Erin Turner, Erin Jackson, and Ginny Kirby, for sharing their awesome experiences and their knowledge with us. So have a great day, everyone.